Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Teacher and the School Curriculum CPE 108 with yours truly, Jed W. And for today's lesson, I am going to discuss to you the topic preposition. So, what is preposition? Preposition is a word used to link nouns, pronouns, or phrases to other words within a sentence. They act to connect the people, objects, time, and locations of a sentence. Prepositions are usually short words and they are normally placed directly in front of nouns. In some cases, you will find prepositions in front of gerund verbs. A nice way to think about prepositions is as the words that help glue a sentence together. They do this by expressing position and movement, possession, time, and how an action is completed. Indeed, several of the most frequently used words in all English, such as of, to, for, with, on, and at, are examples of prepositions. Explaining prepositions can seem complicated, but they are a common part of language, and most of us use them naturally without even thinking about it. In fact, it's interesting to note that prepositions are regarded as a closed class of words in the English language. This means, unlike verbs and nouns, no new words are added to this group over time. In a way, it reflects the role as a functional workhorse of a sentence. They are unassuming and subtle, yet vitally important to the meaning of language. There are two very important rules to remember when using prepositions, because they are somewhat vague. Learning about prepositions and using them correctly in sentences takes practice. Because one-on-one translation is often impossible when dealing with prepositions, even the most advanced English students have some difficulty at first. The first rule is that to make the sentences clear, specific prepositions are needed. For example, the preposition in means one thing, and the preposition on cannot substitute for it in all cases. Some prepositions are interchangeable, but not always. The correct preposition means one particular thing, and using a different preposition will give the sentence a very different meaning. For example, I want to see you in the house, Jane, means something different from I want to see you in the house, Jane. In the house means Jane should go through the door, walk inside, and stand in the hall or living room. While in the house means Jane would need to get a ladder and climb on the roof where she would be on top of the house. The second rule for using preposition is that prepositions are generally followed by nouns or pronouns. There was a time in the past when teachers held strictly to this rule, but it made for some clunky sentences. For example, I am seeking someone I can depend on. So it ends with the preposition on. So people insisted that sentences shouldn't end with a preposition, would be forced to use convoluted and unnatural phrasing. To avoid ending that sentence with a preposition, we should have to say, someone I can depend on is whom I am seeking. Let's have an examples of prepositions. In the following sentences, examples of prepositions have been highlighted. For example, I prefer to read in the library. He climbed up the ladder to get onto the roof. Please sign your name on the dotted line after you read the contract. Go down the stairs and through the door. He swam across the pool. Let's proceed to the types of prepositions. There are actually three types of prepositions, including time prepositions, place prepositions, and direction prepositions. Time prepositions are such as before, after, during, and until. Place prepositions are those indicating position, such as around, between, and against. And direction prepositions are those indicative of direction, such as across, up, and down. Each type of preposition is important. Let's discuss the prepositions of time. Basic examples of time preposition are at, in, and on. They are used to help indicate when something happens, or will happen. It can get a little confusing though, as many different prepositions can be used. Prepositions of time examples in the following sentences are highlighted for easy identification. For example, I was born on July 4th, 1982. I was born in 1982. I was born at exactly 2 a.m. Next is the prepositions of place. To confuse matters a bit, the most common prepositions to indicate times such as on, at, and in are also the most common prepositions to indicate position. However, the rules are a little clearer as place prepositions are a more rigid concept than time prepositions. Prepositions of place examples in the following sentences are highlighted for easy identification. For example, the cat is on the table. The dogs are in the kennel. We can meet at the crossroads. The last but not the least is the prepositions of movement or direction. Prepositions of movement are quite easy to understand as they are less abstract than prepositions of place and time. Essentially, they describe something or someone moves from one place to another. The most commonly used preposition of movement is to, which usually serves to highlight that there is movement towards a specific destination. Prepositions of movement examples in the following sentences are highlighted for easy identification. For example, he has gone on vacation to France. She went to the bowling alley last Friday, last summer. So there are some examples of time, place, and directions prepositions. Some examples of time prepositions. Before and after should be much easier to understand than the other examples of prepositions of time. Both are used to explain when something happens, or will happen, but specifically in relation to another thing. For example, before I discovered this bar, I used to go straight home after work. We will not leave before 3 p.m. David comes before Brian in the line, but after Louise. Let's have some examples of place preposition. We have here in front of, behind, next to, between, above, under, over, below, in, on, with their specific examples. Let's have some examples of movement prepositions. We have here into the box, out of the box, around the box, away from the box, toward the box, past the box, onto the box, off the box, over the box, under the wall, through the pipe, across the bridge, up the stairs, down the stairs. While prepositions are limited in number, They are important because they act as vital markers to the structure of a sentence. They mark special relationships between person, objects, and locations. For this reason, we should think carefully about how we incorporate the teaching and learning of preposition into our classes. So, that's the end of my discussion. Thank you so much for watching and see you on my next topic. God bless and keep safe.